This situation keeps getting crazier surrounding Austin Matthews' latest injury. We have new reports revealing new details from Craig Berube. Even Elliot Freeman spoke out and revealed the truth behind his injury and how long he's going to be out. Stay tuned for all that in this episode. But before we get into a quick reminder, if you're a part of the percentage who aren't subscribed to the channel, about 71% of you aren't subscribed. We're on the road to 15,000 subscribers. So if you want to help us towards that goal, make sure to hit that subscribe button. This is the place to be for daily Leafs content. And a reminder, tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern, we're going to be doing a live watch along of the Jets game. So make sure you tune in. It's going to be a 2 to 3 hour stream. So if you want to watch along with us the day before Christmas Eve, make sure to tune into that 2 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. So we'll remind you guys again tomorrow, but just a quick reminder on that. We'll have a community post for it as well to keep you guys updated. Darius, a lot to go over today surrounding Austin Matthews. He's injured, and we know that. We now know what also re-aggravated the injury, and there's a ton of different updates. I want to start with this. So Craig Berube came out after the game yesterday, brutal loss, by the way, and spoke out on his status. He said, I'm hoping here with the break coming up that he can get some relief, feel better, be ready to go, recharge. That's all I can really say about it. Berube and the level of concern over Matthews' injury and whether it'll nag longer than it did last time. I'm not a doctor. I can't answer that question. I'm hoping here with the break coming up, he can get some relief, be ready to go. That's all I can say about it. A lot more quotes and stuff to go over. I just want to get your initial thoughts on this here. So this is confirming that he's going to miss tomorrow's game against the best team in the NHL in the Winnipeg Jets, who are coming off of a massive 5-0 win over the Minnesota Wild. So they're going to have their hands full tomorrow, and they're going to be without their star player once again and for at least the next 5 days as they have the Christmas break after tomorrow's game.
Yeah, and I mean, they're going to miss him to a degree, but they've been playing great without Austin Matthews as well. So I'm not too worried about the Leafs in absence of Austin Matthews. And we'll get into some stats about that later on in the video. But again, this is a little concerning to me. And even if he was okay, feeling better tomorrow, I wouldn't play him. I am, even debating, even saying, is it okay if he plays in the Four Nations tournament at this point? Because this is an injury that he missed a month with. He flew to Germany to get treatment on it. And after one cross check and the Buffalo Sabres, playing him very tough the other night, it's re-aggravated. So this is a little concerning to me. I think that this could nag on a bit longer. He's going to get a little bit of a break here. They're going to play again on Friday, so I guess they'll reevaluate him there, but he's not going to play tomorrow. I doubt we even get an update tomorrow. They're probably just going to let this go through Christmas till Friday. We'll get an update then, but again, it's a little concerning that it is, and they have confirmed, Berube has confirmed, that it was the cross-check against the Buffalo Sabres that re-aggravated it, and it is the same injury. If it was a different injury, I'd be like, okay, maybe he's going to miss a couple days here. It's the same injury that kept him out that extended period of time, and he flew overseas to get treatment for. So hopefully he's okay, and hopefully it's just a little bit of rehabbing, getting back on the ice to get him back up to speed, but not a good sign for the Toronto Maple Leafs and Austin Matthews because they're going to need him. But again, there's other avenues they can go down. It depends how long he's going to be out. I would assume it's going to be LTIR. Maybe they can use some cap space. Maybe he's out to the playoffs. Just make sure he's 100% and it does not bother him anymore. But a lot of ways they can go about this, but I don't know if we're going to find out until after Christmas.
Yeah, you see this here. It was the cross check from Dennis Gilbert that aggravated the injury. I'm not going to go as far as to panic and say playoffs. There's still a ton of regular season games left, so I'm going to be a bit more optimistic. And maybe he's back after Christmas. I mean, there's a world he's back for the New Year's. They have obviously the Four Nations Cup, which is going to be happening over the next couple months. You have a bunch of times where there's some gaps in between. So obviously the All-Star break, a lot of different things. So there is going to be some time for Austin Matthews to heal up and rest up. And in their absence, I mean, William Nylander is on track to have 56 goals this season. He has 23 goals in 51 games without Austin Matthews. He had another 2 goals yesterday in Austin Matthews' absence. We'll dive into a little bit, even though the Leafs did not play well without him yesterday, but that was more so a goaltending and defensive issue than anything else there. And I want to get your thoughts on this as well, you guys in the comment section. The Leafs should not let Austin Matthews play in the Four Nations face-off. I mean, I agree. I don't know if he will at this point unless he's fully back with the Toronto Maple Leafs and healthy. But either way, I wouldn't want to risk him re-aggravating something for something like the Four Nations Cup. What is your, do you have any thoughts on this, this incident in particular in the upcoming Four Nations Cup here?
If he's healthy, like if you monitor him over the next little while, he can come back and he actually plays games for the Leafs before this tournament, then yes, I think he should go and play. I think that's fine. You don't want to take this moment away from this player because he wants to go play for his country. That is totally fine with me. But if he hasn't played for the Leafs and this lingers and it's maybe nagging on longer than even the first time he was out, and then the Four Nations comes up and all of a sudden I'm great, I can play. I don't know if that's a situation the Leafs are going to, let him go play in that, or even if it's a good idea, because then you can re-aggravate that again, and then he's out for the playoffs or something like that. So if he comes back and he's fine in the next little while and he plays games for the Leafs, then I see no problem with it. It's a great opportunity for the player. But again, if this is, kind of lingers on a little bit longer and it's kind of around that time. Is he going to play? Isn't he going to play? I think it's better to just sit it out and make sure you're ready to go with the Leafs for the last half of the season and the playoffs. So interesting situation there. Let us know in the comments what you think about that because that's making the rounds online lately right after the injury. But I'm sure we're going to get an update at some point whether he's going to be out day to day, which could turn into week to week or month to month. We'll see. But to me, if he's not, progressing well after Christmas, it might be an LTIR situation.
Yeah. Now, Elliot Freeman did come out and put some cold water on that, saying there doesn't seem to be a sense of panic around Austin Matthews' re-aggravation of his injury. That was, of course, on a Hockey Night in Canada last night. So this, on the other hand, now, if you're looking at it from Elliot Freeman's perspective, he's obviously pretty tuned in with these things. He says there doesn't seem to be a sense of panic. Now, I'm going to take this with a grain of salt because there wasn't really a sense of panic with his injury before or with Jake McCabe's injury, with all these things. That being said, it is an encouraging sign that at least within the team or within what the team is giving the media to perceive out to us, there doesn't seem to be any severe sense of panic, which will let me to believe that hopefully he'll be back after the new year. But there's a world he's out for weeks. There's a world he's out for months. There's also a world where he's just out for, a week or 2 weeks because they're playing it safe with the big break. The big break. It's 3 days. It's 3 nights. 3 nights. But with the break coming up, I don't know. Maybe they're just playing it extra cautious, which they should do anyways. Obviously, it's unfortunate that he got his injury re-aggravated on a specific play. So he probably was dealing with something before, but there was actually a specific incident. It wasn't just he went out there, played, didn't get hit, or got shoved around a little bit, and now isn't as healthy. He got hit, and he got cross-checked, and that's what re-aggravated the injury. He'll continue to do everything he needs to do to get back as soon as possible. So an encouraging update from Elliot Freeman. I'm going to play on the side of being optimistic here, optimism, but the lines I want to touch on here because this is from yesterday's game, and I want to see how Craig Berube actually goes about playing these lines. And he obviously had to mix a ton of things up. You're without your best player here, but Darius, I know you weren't there for the post-game stream yesterday. We saw David Kampf, man, that second line. He had a rough game. The defense, the pairings looked really bad yesterday. In particular, that Benoit and McCabe line I think it had the worst impact scorecard that I've seen in a very long time. They were both at the bottom. McCabe with an absolute disaster class of a game. And again, I'm not hating on McCabe. He had a rough game. There's some changes that need to be made, but now we're really going to be testing. Craig Berube is going to be tested with playing because it's a bit different than before Matthews was out. A lot of players are healthy now, so he has a lot of decisions to make.
So a lot of people were trashing these lineup decisions, and I want to get back to the Matthews thing in a second before we wrap up here as well. But a lot of people were trashing this last night. I don't know if this is necessarily a bad move by Craig Berube. You can't mess up the third line and the first line the way that they're going. So you got to plug somebody in, and it's David Kampf, and he's going to go on that second line. So is it ideal? No, it's not ideal to have David Kampf on your second line, but you can't touch the chemistry of the third line. And nobody was really good last night. Obviously, hindsight 2020. But going into that game, you can't touch the third line. The first line's been good all season when those three are together. So I think that honestly makes sense. It's not ideal at the end of the day. Absolutely not. It's not ideal. But to go back to the Matthews thing, there's a lot of people making a big deal about the cross check itself, and maybe it should have been a penalty. I've been seeing a lot about that, but it's a two-way street. And at the end of the day, this is hockey, and the Leafs are building themselves up to be a tougher team. They want to be a tougher team. And when you have McCabe, rock bottoming and stone cold stunning guys in the crease every game, you got to expect stuff on the other side as well, on the offensive side. So guys are going to take liberties as well. And in terms of, no panic for the Leafs too. That's kind of what we heard. And I'll go back to the Stolar situation where they said, hey, you know what? Overall, it's good news. Yeah, no structural damage, but he's still missing 6 weeks. So I'm hoping it's not that type of situation where it's like, hey, there's no panic from the Leafs organization. He's not going to miss the playoffs or anything, but he could end up missing an extended period of time. So hopefully it's nothing like that. We'll see him back soon. But to me, he's got to get 100% before he comes back. At this point, you absolutely need this player heading into the playoffs, firing on all cylinders, because the Leafs are in about a 2-year window here. To me, this year is very crucial to try and win the Stanley Cup. So he's got to be 100% before he comes back.
Yeah, let us know below your thoughts are, and hopefully he'll be all good. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see them split up that third line over the next couple games, even though it's been phenomenal. Maybe Bobby McMahon on that top line like we saw prior to his re-aggravation of the injury. But that'll wrap it up. Let us know down below what your thoughts are on all of this. And again, let us know if you're concerned with Austin Matthews' injury or not. We'll see you guys tomorrow.